This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. When Haley flew across the ocean with the student she had been sponsoring to celebrate Christmas, I was at home decorating the Christmas tree, watching them holding each other affectionately on social media, kissing freely under a sky full of fireworks. I accidentally dropped the ornament on the table, shattering it to pieces. That was Haley at 19, a Christmas gift she gave me after working part-time for a whole month. I had carefully kept it all these years, but now both the ornament and the person who gave it, I didn't want them anymore. Christmas. When the unfamiliar account sent me their intimate photos on schedule, I was staring blankly at the pine tree in the yard. I picked the pine tree myself at the market. I had hung every bell on those branches with my own hands. It was supposed to be a surprise I prepared for Haley, to celebrate our 10th anniversary together. Now with that photo of them kissing, it all became a joke. Following the watermark on the photo, I found the man's social media account. He was clever. Not a single photo revealed Haley's identity, but everything was carefully calculated. The glimpse of his wristwatch, the simple ring on their intertwined fingers, even the woman's sweet sticky voice. All of it proved that it was my wife of 10 years. Haley, 2 days ago, she told me she had a last-minute international meeting. She didn't come home, heading straight to the airport from work. And right when she messaged me from across the ocean to say she was safe, that unfamiliar account sent me the first photo. I was forced to watch, through that man's eyes, a grand public display of affection. They accepted blessings from strangers on foreign streets, kissed recklessly under exploding fireworks, whispered their love to each other when the Christmas bell rang. Like two star-crossed lovers who finally escaped misery, finding their own private utopia. It didn't take me long to figure out who the man was. Tony, the student Haley used to sponsor. I should be grateful. Tony cared about me more than Haley did. After all, once Haley landed, she only sent me that one message to let me know she was safe, and then nothing else. Seeing that I didn't reply, Tony sent me a recording. Haley's drunken voice echoed in my ears, telling Tony how much she liked him. Brother Rocky, I heard from Haley that Christmas is your anniversary with her, but now she's found someone better to be with. You shouldn't cling to her anymore. After all, if this really comes out into the open, it's going to be embarrassing for you. I suddenly remembered 10 years ago, Haley had spoken in that same cautious tone. When she gave me the Christmas ornament, she had worked a whole month to buy. It was dotted with tiny decorations, exactly like the ones hanging on the tree in the yard. I could never forget the way she blinked at me, swearing that one day she would take me to America for Christmas. Now she finally had the ability to fly across the ocean, but the person standing next to her had changed. I opened Haley's chat window. The last message was me reminding her to take her stomach medicine. Scrolling up, most of our conversations were just me talking to myself. I asked her to come home earlier, asked her to drink less, asked her to take care of her health. Haley would only give a half-hearted in response, so different from the sweet voice I just heard in that recording. Looking at the Christmas ornament on the table, I suddenly felt an overwhelming irritation. I casually threw it in the trash, grabbed a pair of scissors, and walked out the door. That Christmas tree had no meaning anymore. It should be buried together with my love and my marriage. Just as I was venting my frustration, Haley sent me a message. Landing at 10, come pick me up. I instinctively smiled, but froze again when Tony's new message popped up. I said I've never seen the night view of New York before. Haley gave up the meeting just to take me there. By the way, have you two ever been to New York? New York. I thought about it seriously, then typed out the word no. Glancing at the time, I decided to drive to the airport. Every time we parted, I would always bring a bunch of daisies to pick her up. No special reason. They were just the cheapest flowers at the florist. After a while, it became a kind of ritual. When Haley came out, it was just after 10. She looked at me, her face lighting up with a smile, but her gaze quickly shifted to the man next to her. Tony appeared out of nowhere, with a bouquet of roses, stuffing it into her arms. Haley, I had this specially prepared for you. You've always reminded me of roses, mysterious, dangerous, yet irresistibly attractive. Not sure though. He glanced at the daisies in my hand. What Rocky was thinking, always picking cheap stuff against the vibrant roses. The plain white daisies naturally lost their luster. Even Haley's face showed a hint of displeasure, as if what I brought was embarrassing. She took the roses, then casually threw my daisies into the trash. I swallowed my bitterness, planning to talk to Haley properly when we got home. After all, this 10-year relationship deserved at least a proper ending. Just as my hand reached for Haley's suitcase, she dodged to the side indifferently. Don't bother. I'm going to New York soon. Just came to see you for a bit. New York. Anyone with eyes could see the tension between her and Tony. It was subtle, but unmistakable. When we secretly dated behind everyone's backs, it was like this too. A single glance, and we'd both break into smiles, pretending afterward like nothing happened. My heart sank. For the first time, I felt an overwhelming sense of defeat, almost without thinking. I grabbed Haley's hand and asked, I've never been to New York. Can I come with you this time? Haley and Tony replied in unison. No. Meeting my eyes, Haley gave an awkward smile. I'm going for work. It's not convenient for you to come. Besides, there aren't any tickets available now. I pointed at Tony. Then tell me, what is he going as? Haley suddenly relaxed, smiling as if soothing a child. Honey, are you jealous? Tony is the student I sponsored. What's wrong with with taking him to see the world. Seeing that I didn't speak, her tone suddenly became impatient. You're not seriously thinking there's something between me and Tony, are you? Rocky, how are you any different from those petty jealous housewives? Hearing her words, I couldn't help but want to ask her, where did she get the illusion that I could be generous enough to let her travel alone with another man? It was laughable. Back when Haley and I started from scratch, we had gone everywhere together. She didn't want to leave me alone at home, afraid I would suffer. To expand the business, we traveled all around Washington. I remember, we couldn't even afford a hotel. We squeezed into tiny rooms, with her leaning against me, talking about our future plans, always falling asleep halfway through. Before she drifted off, she would murmur, I'll take you to all the places you want to go someday. After she succeeded, Haley got busier and busier. I felt sorry for her, determined to be her strongest support. As for those old promises, she didn't mention them, and neither did I. This time, I finally asked for something, and was ruthlessly rejected. I forced a smile, whispering as you wish, then turned to leave the airport. Seeing me angry, Haley quickly grabbed my hand to coax me. Rocky, if you're upset, I won't go. All right, no project is more important than you. Hearing that, I just found it ridiculous. After 10 years together, no one knew each other better than we did. Haley could see through my moods and knew my biggest weakness, so she used the project to manipulate me. I looked back at her familiar face, the same as 10 years ago. Time had left no trace on her. I smiled. All right, let's go home. Caught off guard by my response, Haley panicked. She blurted out, can't you be more understanding? If I didn't have something important, why wouldn't I stay home with you? I'm really busy. Yes, busy whispering with a college student, busy showing him the world. As if remembering something, Haley took out a pair of Christmas-themed cufflinks from her bag, offering them to me like a prize. Look, I went to several stores to find this limited edition, but they looked all too familiar. I'd seen them before, buried among luxury goods, on Tony's social media. Probably just a free gift. I laughed, tears filling my eyes. Once upon a time, Haley worked part-time for a whole month, just to buy me a gift. In the freezing winter, she wore a thin coat handing out flyers, her fingers red and swollen. I told her not to, that I could afford it myself, but she insisted, gazing at me with sparkling eyes. Silly, you gave all your living expenses to pay my tuition. How could you have any money? I carefully kept that first gift from her, and today, I threw it into the trash myself. I tried searching for that old Haley in her eyes, but all I saw was confusion. Seeing my red-rimmed eyes, she didn't panic anymore, instead showing a hint of impatience. You always pull this trick to make me feel guilty. Rocky, I really have work to do. Tony is going to join the company in the future. I'm just helping him get familiar now, so I'll have more time to spend with you later. Before I could speak, she began planning her next steps on her own. Didn't you say you prepared a surprise for me? Wait until I get back. Then I'll spend a few days taking you out to play. Surprise. The surprise was already destroyed by me. Along with this marriage, Haley wrote. I suddenly called her full name. There's no surprise anymore. Just like us. No future anymore. Suppressing the urge to vomit, I hurried to the bathroom. After flushing, I looked at myself in the mirror. There was no change. So how did Haley fall for a younger version of me? Tony resembles me a bit. This was something Haley and I had always agreed on. When we first sponsored him, Haley joked with me, looking into his eyes. I feel like I'm seeing the younger you. He naturally stood out, becoming the first student to receive a scholarship. Now Tony has successfully replaced me. Speak of the devil. He strolled in slowly and stood beside me. Rocky, is this necessary? What? I mean, is it really necessary for you to shamelessly cling to Haley? She's lost interest in you, hasn't she? Every holiday, Haley spends it with me. Even Christmas, the most important holiday between you two, she chose me instead. Do you know why? She said every time she sees you, she feels like she's back in those days when no one respected her, when she was struggling to survive. Seeing you just brings her shame. Yeah, I remembered all the times I missed appointments, offering half-hearted apologies. Is it really necessary? Why lower myself to such a pitiful state for a woman? I wanted to give up, but whenever I thought of Haley, my heart softened involuntarily. It's Haley after all. During the darkest times, the two of you depended on each other through countless cold nights. You drooled over the gifts stacked under the Christmas tree, wishing that one day you would have your own tree. You marked Christmas the day you met and fell in love, as the start of your new lives. Should I just give up? I stubbornly said, fine, then take her away. I don't want to love her anymore. There was a sound of something dropping, and Tony and I both turned to the door. Haley's rose had fallen to the floor. She looked at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. Rocky, what did you say? I stayed silent. Tony quickly answered for me. Haley, Rocky must be tired recently. He's not thinking straight. How could someone as amazing as you be unloved? Haley ignored him and walked straight to me. Rocky, say it again. Through her figure, I glanced at the small daisy in the trash, then at the flowers scattered around the house. Maybe Haley never liked daisies after all. Maybe the two of us were never meant to be. We were just two homeless souls keeping each other warm. Rocky, look at me. Haley firmly turned my face, her eyes scanning mine. How can you say that? If even you want to leave me, then what was all my effort for? What was it for? Just bad luck for you. Meeting someone like me who cannot tolerate any flaw. Haley, I don't want to say hurtful things again. I gently moved her hand away, speaking clearly. Her eyes suddenly welled with tears. Even so, when Haley saw the boarding reminder on her phone. She abandoned me without hesitation. She glanced at me once, then hurried away with Tony. We'll solve any problems after I get back. Watching her leave like that question in my heart finally had an answer. Should I just give up? Fine, I will give up. At home packing my bags. Haley had just landed in Shanghai. I didn't learn this from Haley herself, but from Tony, who reported back to me as usual. His words were full of pride, telling me he would take good care of Haley. Rocky, if it were me, I wouldn't have the face to stay by Haley's side. She's so dazzling, and you're just an ordinary guy, and socially awkward too. What help can you give Haley? You can't run a business, and you definitely can't be a hostess. You're no use to her. Better let her go early. I asked myself honestly, am I ordinary? Yes, ordinary. When I met Haley, I was just a plain student. Someone wanted to see me fail and sign me up for a speech contest. Thrown onto the stage, I looked at the crowded audience below, my palms sweaty, just wanting to hide in a hole. Haley came up on stage and rescued me. I will always remember. She wore a faded coat, its sleeves frayed, her eyes shining, comforting me. Don't be afraid. After we got off stage, she took me to her secret base, a corner convenience store with a big Christmas tree outside. Haley pointed at the tree and said, I decorated it myself. I work here part-time. You can come find me anytime. Now this is our secret base. Whenever I had nowhere else to go, I would come to that store, find a corner and stay the whole day. Later, Haley bought the convenience store and gave it to me. Just like this house, it was my shelter from all the rumors and gossip. Now that the dream is over, it's time to give everything back. Tony kept reporting their schedules to me nonstop. Today, Haley booked the entire rooftop revolving restaurant just to spend New Year's Eve with me. The fireworks in the sky were specially arranged by Haley for me. I opened the photo, carefully tracing the signature on the fireworks. LNY, neat and fitting, just like the engraving on our wedding rings. Then I saw Haley's sudden message in my phone, Happy New Year. Only then did I realize this was already our 11th year together. I once thought if we survived the 7-year itch, it would last a lifetime, but fate loves to joke, always striking when someone is lost in indulgence. Leaving behind the divorce papers, I turned my back on this home that Haley and I had decorated little by little. Standing on the street, watching cars come and go, I suddenly realized I had nowhere to go. After some thought, I returned to that convenience store. Though I had no job these years, I had interests of my own. Though not earning as much as Haley, it was enough to support myself. I had bought that convenience store early on with my own money. I had planned to renovate it to surprise Haley, but instead it became my last refuge. I found a random corner, curled up in my down jacket, and barely made it through the night. When I woke up, Haley's messages had flooded my phone. Rocky, the project suddenly has some problems. I might be 2 days late coming back. I kept thinking of you during the meeting, and of us eating Odin at the convenience store. Let's go eat it together when I get back, okay? She didn't know the store had long been closed. She didn't know I had already ended this relationship. She didn't know Tony had sent me photos of them in bed, claiming his territory. Rocky, Haley belongs to me now. I forwarded the divorce papers to Haley. She didn't reply for a long time. Growing impatient, I messaged Tony. Make sure Haley sees the message. If you can get her to sign the divorce papers, I thank you. Almost immediately, Haley called. Rocky, if you want to talk to me, don't bother Tony with everything. She didn't even look at the papers I sent, calling only to tell me not to trouble Tony. Strangely, instead of feeling sad, I felt nothing. I said quietly, look at what I sent first. Silence on the other end. Unable to stand the atmosphere, I set a meeting place and hung up quickly. When Haley arrived at the convenience store, she was out of breath. She wore a tailored suit, making her look sharp and confident. Very different from the Haley who wore a thin jacket all winter. She pushed the door open, frowning at me. Rocky, do you know how much I gave up to come back for you? Haley rambled on, but didn't have time to look around the room. Haley, have you signed the divorce papers? I looked into her eyes, cutting her off. Rocky, I've already left the company to be with you. What more do you want? Don't ask for too much. Running this company alone is exhausting. You're no help, so don't add to my troubles. Haley finally spoke her heart, without caring about her words. So you've always thought I'm useless, haven't you? She nodded, then shook her head. Rocky, I've been too tired lately. My emotions are off. Don't take it personally. Since I'm back, how about I take you to the food street? It was almost laughable. Haley was willing to fly a poor student to America for Christmas, but only willing to take her husband of 10 years to walk around a snack street. I sighed. Haley, some things I don't want to explain, just to keep some dignity for both of us. I don't want to talk about you and Tony anymore. Tony again. Hearing Tony's name made Haley restless. Since I came back, you've been suspicious about me and Tony. Rocky, I've turned down so many temptations for you, and you still won't believe me. I looked at her blankly, thinking to myself, as a wife, isn't resisting temptation outside marriage expected? Why did it sound like she had made some great sacrifice for me? If you want a divorce, fine. But after divorce, what can you do? All these years I supported you. Can you find a job? With your shy, withdrawn nature, who would take you seriously? Others' opinions about me don't matter. Only the sharp words from the person beside me hurt the most. Haley saw my face, suddenly turned pale, then realized what she had said. Rocky, I didn't mean it. She murmured an apology, but I wasn't ready to accept it. Haley, if you really feel sorry, then sign the divorce papers, so I can make way for Tony. You You're unreasonable. Think it over carefully for a while. Come back when you've made up your mind. Haley's phone suddenly rang. She glanced down then hurried away. No doubt she went to see Tony. Half an hour later, Tony's message arrived as expected. Brother Rocky, when Haley heard I was sick, did she immediately leave you and come to take care of me? I paused then typed back. If you have the guts, get Haley to sign the divorce papers. But even until Haley's company annual party, Tony didn't succeed. The company's admin sent me an invitation to the party as usual, but just after sending it was withdrawn the next second. Before I could ask, the admin quickly apologized. Sorry boss Rocky, let me confirm the list before sending it to you. And I waited. A whole day passed. That evening Tony excitedly messaged me. Brother Rocky, what do you think it means when Haley asked me to sit beside her at the party? Isn't that seat only for you? His tone was obviously taunting. Only then did I realize the admin's excuse was just a cover. Haley was showing me with actions that without her I was nothing. I smiled and told Tony if he could get me into the party, I would never show up in front of Haley again. He agreed. But when all his boastful messages appeared on the big screen at the party, he started to panic. The whispers around him made him want to disappear underground. He instinctively looked for Haley's help, only to find her pulling me out of the banquet hall. Rocky, are you determined to ruin me and the company? Haley's face showed no sign of panic or guilt, only endless accusations of my rashness. I really have nothing with Tony. Where did you get so many absurd photos to slander us? Rocky, you've really changed. You've become selfish and jealous. I find I don't know you at all anymore. What about me? The woman who shared my bed for 10 years, faced with photos of me and another man, first blamed me for causing trouble. Haley, how can you be sure I forged those? I took out my phone. Photos of Haley kissing Tony stared back at her, sent just half an hour ago. Haley had come to me uninvited trying to appease Tony. They wore matching couple outfits, kissing passionately in a cramped corner. Tony even live streamed the whole thing to me. When things fell apart, Haley softened her voice to soothe me. Rocky, it's not what you think. I'll explain everything to you properly later, okay? You caused such a mess at the party just now. Let me clean it up for you first. Please go home and wait for me. Seeing my cold face, she slipped her hand into mine and held my fingers tight. Tony just looks too much like you. Sometimes I treated him as your replacement. Don't be angry, okay? She squeezed my hand gently to calm me, but as soon as she saw Tony staggering nearby, she let go. Rocky, go home first. Wait for me to explain everything properly when I get back. When Haley chased after Tony's retreating figure, I knew the Haley who once helped me escape my nightmare was gone. If that was the case, I had nothing left to hold on to. I left the signed divorce papers in her office without a shred of mercy and walked away. Back at the hotel, I packed my luggage. Near the year's end, I didn't plan to stay in this city. I wanted to find a warmer place to live for a while. Before meeting Haley, I had no home, at least no spiritual refuge. After being with Haley, I started looking forward to holidays like Christmas and New Year. At least it proved I could be someone's support. After all these years, I realized the greatest support a person can have is themselves. After packing up, I decisively booked a ticket and left the city. By the time Haley found the convenience store, I was long gone. She angrily overturned things on the table, then noticed many drawings had fallen on the floor. Haley picked them up and looked carefully. They were all pictures of her. There were the ones I saw in the news, and the ones of her in everyday life wearing an apron. But gradually she noticed the smiles and the drawings grew fewer and fewer. Haley tried hard to recall and remembered the time she spent with Tony. Just because Tony wanted to go to an amusement park, she booked the whole park for him. Haley kept thinking Tony was just too much like the young Rocky. Looking into his eyes, she wanted to fulfill all his wishes. If I far away in Los Angeles had known what Haley was thinking, I probably would have laughed until I cried. I was still alive and well. It wasn't Haley's place to seek validation through others. Cheating is cheating, no need to dress it up with fancy words. But none of it concerned me anymore. When I saw the sun shining on the mountain, I made up my mind. No matter what, I would live my life well. Tony somehow disappeared without a trace. I messaged him, "Are you even capable?" Has Haley agreed to the divorce? After a long silence, he replied, "Rocky, you must be proud to have stolen Haley from me. She's just not over you yet. When she's really tired of you, don't cry." What nonsense was that? Was Tony really that unreliable? I sighed in disbelief, taking a deep breath. When I returned to the guest house after coming down the mountain, I greeted the landlady at the door. "Painter Rocky, you're back." I nodded and went to my room, opening the window. Looking at the beautiful scenery before me, I started to paint. Here no one knew I was the loser who couldn't even speak up before. No one knew I was the pretty boy who depended on women to live. Here I was just myself. One morning I opened the door and saw Haley's smiling face. "Rocky, I found you." She came in a hurry, sweaty, but smiling brightly when she saw me. "Rocky, why didn't you tell me you wanted to come here? I could have come with you. I couldn't reach you on the phone and spent so long trying to find you." I looked at her helplessly, not understanding why she came chasing after me. She pulled her suitcase and was about to come in, but I stopped her. "Haley, this is a single room. The reason you couldn't reach me is because I blocked you. I didn't tell you where I was because we're no longer connected. I don't love you anymore." She suddenly went pale and shoved her suitcase into my hand. "I'm going to ask the landlord for a double room. Wait for me here." Rooms were extremely scarce here. There were simply no extras available. Haley hung her head in disappointment, and on the way back she picked a bunch of small daisies and shyly handed them to me. Rocky, look at this. The roadside here is full of daisies, so beautiful. How did you find such a nice place? She tried to sound bright, but couldn't hide the sadness in her voice. I said nothing, just looked down at the flowers, and threw them into the trash bin. This kind of trash doesn't suit you, Boss Haley. Tony's red roses are more fitting. Her rosy cheeks flushed from running just moments ago, turned pale again. Rocky, I can explain, really, please just listen to me. Watching her nervousness, I suddenly grew interested. Okay, then explain. Haley's face lit up. She tried to pull her suitcase inside, but I held the key and pushed her back out the door. We're a man and a woman alone here. It's not appropriate to stay together. Tony would get jealous again if he saw us. When did I start suspecting Haley had a second mind? It seemed like every time we were alone, she was called away by some excuse or another. Over time, I accepted her busy schedule as reality. Only recently I discovered through Tony's social media. Those days Haley said she had to work late. She was actually spending time with Tony. Rocky, it's just us here, no Tony. Let's not talk about anyone else, okay? I shook my head. No, Haley, without Tony we can't go on either. For the first time, I seriously analyzed our marriage. Haley was naturally competitive, always wanting to be better than others. I, on the other hand, was introverted and liked to be alone. Two completely opposite personalities. Yet we lasted 11 years together. I thought we could support each other, spend another 10 or 20 years together. But all confidence shattered when I heard Tony's words. My Haley had already started to dislike me. She hated my shyness, my inability to help her much. She hated that I was useless at social events, that I was boring and unchanging without youth's freshness. Instead of continuing a battle of wills, it seemed better to separate peacefully now. No, it's not like that. Haley's eyes reddened. Rocky, it's not like that. Those words were nonsense, I said, just to please Tony. Actually, the one I think about all along is you. When I took Tony to the US, all I thought about was our first Christmas. Do you remember? I took you to the convenience store where I worked part-time to eat Odin. With employee discounts, it was so cheap. No matter what fancy food I ate later, nothing tastes better than that Odin. I scoffed quietly. How naive could that be? Haley had long forgotten our original intention, forgotten the purity of our love. Haley, do you remember? We couldn't even afford Odin back then. Just staring at the steam rising from the pot. You told me you wanted me to have Odin until I was sick of it. But later I realized, when you really get that life, you won't think about Odin anymore. No matter what delicacies. If you want them, you can have endless amounts. Haley and I both knew I wasn't talking about food. I was talking about a person. Can you give up this kind of life? I wasn't forcing her to decide. Haley was born to thrive in business. She had worked hard to build the company to its current size. I respected her ability and wondered how I would have done if it were me. Either way, I could never match her. Haley was silent. Is divorce really our only option? Rocky, I once made you like me. I can make you love me again. Just give us some more time, please. The woman who was always firm bowed her head for the first time, begging me. Broken mirrors rarely mend. And even if we reconciled, what use would it be? We couldn't waste our lives like this. I met Haley's eyes, took out the divorce papers from my pocket, the ones I had kept close ever since seeing her. Let's part on good terms, Haley. When we married, Haley gave up a wedding for me. We simply wore ordinary clothes, stood under the Christmas tree at the convenience store, exchanged rings, a small silver band with a tiny diamond, which cost me quite a bit. When snowflakes fell, I raised the ring and said, Haley, will you marry me? Now I said her name gently again, but with finality. Haley, let's get a divorce. Haley stared at the papers for a long time, then agreed. This agreement isn't fair, you should get more. She tore the papers without care, called the lawyer to draft a new divorce agreement. When everything was settled, it was already a month later. I returned to Washington, got the divorce certificate, then went back to Los Angeles. The weather here was like spring all year round. Just looking at it made me feel at ease. I decided to stay here for a while, to find inspiration for painting. Every day I carried my sketchbook, sat anywhere I liked and drew. The shop owners on the street all recognized me. Days passed by. I slowly adapted to life here, even began to feel at home. One day before going out, the landlady reminded me to come back early. There's a new guest tonight, we'll have rice noodles for dinner. I nodded, feeling secretly happy. The landlady was famous for her rice noodles. We regulars craved it, but she rarely cooked herself. As soon as I heard about the meal, I rushed back as soon as the sun set, carrying my sketchbook. Landlady, when's dinner ready? As soon as I stepped inside, the woman with her back to me turned around, wearing a familiar smile. Rocky, it's been a while. You become much more cheerful. It was Haley. Why are you here? The smile on my face faded away. This place is not welcoming to you, Haley. Rocky, I paid to stay here. I rented it for half a year. I glanced at the landlady with a doubtful look. She nodded helplessly. I rolled my eyes toward the ceiling. What kind of situation is this? The temptation of good food was too strong, so I ended up sitting at the same table as Haley, eating together. The rice noodles the landlady made were chewy and fragrant, paired with her special sauce, truly authentic. Haley watched me enjoy the meal and sighed. Rocky, it's been so long since I've seen you this happy. I've thought a lot during this time. I cannot give up the company, and I cannot give up you. She seemed to be pledging to me. Her firm words made everyone at the table tease us. Rocky Rocky the artist, I didn't know you had such a romance. Facing the teasing eyes, I answered casually. You wanted this kind of romance is yours if you want it. I put down my bowl, turned and went back to my room. From then on, there was a fresh bouquet of daisies at my doorstep every day. I knew that was Haley reminding me. Her choice was always me. But since the day at the airport when she casually threw my flowers into the trash, my choice was no longer her. My choice was for a wider sky, higher and longer mountains, more possibilities. These poor daisies' fate was always the trash bin. I blocked Haley once more on her way back. Though she lived here, the company's business depended on her. She had endless calls and meetings every day. Haley's eyes were dark and bruised. She must have stayed up late again last night. I always remembered those nights when we lived in the basement. The house was too small to wash up, so Haley would take her things to McDonald's downstairs. When she came back, she was full of passion for the world again. Rocky, you finally agreed to see me. In her tired eyes, joy flashed. Tony wants to join the company, but I said no. I've also withdrawn all support apart from his studies. I told him at first, I just wanted to help because he looked like you. Never expected he'd recklessly put himself in front of you. She looked at me with eyes full of stars, seeking praise, as if this would remove all barriers between us. Haley, it's not like that. I interrupted her. Really, it's not like that. You should know it's impossible between us now. This is the last time. I wish you happiness. Haley looked confused, followed me wanting to understand. When I didn't turn back, she muttered that she'd bring me fresh flowers tomorrow, then went back to her conference call. I returned inside and started packing my bags. On this ordinary night, I slung my bag over my shoulder and said goodbye to Los Angeles. My life should be on the road now. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.